Podcasting for business. To some, it's still a foreign concept, but to others, it's become a lead-generating machine and an investment in a loyal customer base. So if you own, manage, or heck, even work for an organization and you're curious about the ways a podcast could benefit your business, stick around. I got a few ideas to help you get started. This is the place for podcasters. Welcome back to the channel. My name's Brian here with Summit City Studios, and this is the place for podcasters. On this channel, we talk about tips, tools, and tech to help you create a great podcast. Today, I want to talk a little bit about the benefits a podcast has to offer for your business. You see, when I sit down and talk to businessmen and women about the possibilities that podcasts offer them, I usually get a confused look like, that question doesn't even make sense. But after a little bit of conversation, they're intrigued, and I'm usually invited back for a follow-up conversation. So I thought the things that I share with them might make for a good video to help you get a jump on the competition and help you get started with your company's podcast. So I just want to share 3 ways that a podcast could potentially benefit your business. The first one is really simple. It's all about name recognition in a crowded market. Podcast listenership is on the rise. In fact, 57% of Americans over the age of 12 have listened to a podcast. Now, listening to one podcast maybe isn't a big deal, but when you recognize more studies are consistently showing that 50% of American homes listen to podcasts and stream them regularly, that's kind of a big deal. What that doesn't mean is that 50% of American households will listen to your podcast. But just like anything else, if you have something valuable to offer, whether that's a product, a service, or even a network of people, a podcast could be the thing that helps you reach an audience that's not driving past your building or seeing your ads on TV or currently even know that you exist. So while the fact of the matter currently is that not many businesses are out there podcasting, there is a growing uptick in the number of businesses who are considering the possibility, and you could get a jump on the competition. And as an added bonus, statistics are also showing 54% of podcast listeners say that they're either very likely or somewhat likely to purchase from a brand after hearing its name advertised on a podcast. The second way a podcast could be a benefit to your business is by building a loyal customer base through educating your customers and future customers. A podcast is a great way to establish your expertise in a particular field, whatever it is that your business or your brand does. So maybe you're in the data management business. A podcast about the importance and the value of data management and digital security, which maybe you have a product to offer in that area, could establish you as an expert in the field. And when people are looking for that thing, they'll know where to go because they've heard your name mentioned in a podcast. So customer education is a real value of a podcast that's not about selling, but it is about positioning yourself in a market so that people know where to go because they've already learned from you and you become a trusted voice in the thing that they're looking for. I've got one more idea I want to share with you, but before I do, if you've watched this far and you're finding any value in this video or finding it insightful or helpful in any way, hitting that like button right now lets me know that this content is valuable and worthwhile to continue producing more so I can continue to create great content for you and your organization. Now, the third thing that I want to share, the third way a podcast could be of benefit to your company that many people maybe haven't considered is through training your employees. This is actually how I got started in podcasting, to be honest. I saw a need in my organization for better and more consistent training. You see, we were at a point where our small little organization was beginning to expand and our geographic territory was increasing, which meant we couldn't hold our training sessions, our training opportunities, even our staff meetings the same way we used to. It was an obstacle we had to overcome, so podcasting became the thing that we tried. So I started a podcast, not just to train our staff and employees, but to train the hundreds of volunteers that served with our organization across our region. That podcast that I started just 3 years ago now has regular listeners in 6 countries around the world. With that in mind, I think this is a really intriguing option for a workforce that's increasingly mobile and able to work from anywhere. Think about it. a company podcast to help train employees on new company policies, to help distribute information to your sales team that's out on the road and in the field and never in the office, or to even highlight the work that Christy is doing in Kansas to connect with her customers and encourage others to do the same. There are any number of ways you could leverage a podcast to help equip and train and empower your employees wherever they happen to be. And if your content really is something that you need to contain and keep in-house, there's also opportunities now to do private podcasting where the only people who can hear your podcast are those that you give access to listen to it. These are pretty broad categories to help give you a start in considering how a podcast may help and benefit your company or organization. And there are probably plenty of other ways that a podcast could do so, but I'd love to know which of these 3 ways that I just shared do you believe could be the most beneficial to your company or organization? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And once again, if you found value in this video, be sure to hit that like button and consider subscribing for more content just like this. And I'll see you in the next video. If you're ready to start a podcast and you're looking for some help on the technical side of things, which honestly can be a little tricky, visit me at summitcitystudios.com to find out how I can help you create a great podcast. Otherwise, if you're just here to learn more about podcasting, check out one of these other videos.